Hello everyone. So welcome to the session of leadership. Leadership, in the last few sessions, we have discussed about the different types of leaders. And in the last session, we started with the powers of leaders, the powers which a leader has, and he exercises those power to make other person deliver the result. A leader cannot be called as a leader, as a good leader, until and unless he cannot make his employee achieve the desired results. It is very important for a person who becomes a leader that he becomes an influencer for other person. Influencer as in a person to whom the people look and follow the direction. If a leader is attractive, if the leader carries a charm, if the leader has that power to convince the person, if the leader has the power to make his team move in the direction he wants them to work, then we can say that yes, he is a successful leader. He is a person who leads others. He is a person who has the power to give direction to others and who can make the people follow his footprints. So in last session, if I talk about the last session, and in last session, we have discussed about the leadership power, 3 different leadership powers, which we have discussed in the last session. Those were the first power was legitimate power. So legitimate power, this is the power which you get just because of the position you are holding, just because of on a certain level of hierarchy you are sitting, and that is the reason which makes you use your legitimate power. There is no chance of if, but I'll do that, I will not do that, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. No, the employee, the subordinate won't have that option of arguing with you. They just have one thing, that they will have to accept whatever you say. And now here, these type of leaders who use the legitimate power are not using their influence, not using their own influence, the influence of the words, influence of the face, the influence of the personality. They're not using that influence. They are using the influence of the position they hold in the organization. So that is known as legitimate power, which is the result of the hierarchy, the position, the hierarchy on which you are sitting gives you the right, gives you the power to make the other person follow your instructions and achieve the goals of the organization. That is the first power which we have discussed in the last session. The second power which we have discussed was the coercive power. Coercive power is, we are friends, right? We share our secrets. And someday you were so emotional, you shared a very, very, very hidden secret, top secret of yours with your friend. Now, the friend uses that secret, that hidden, that secret information against you. He threats you. He forces you to do what he or she is saying. Otherwise, he's going to disclose that information to your friends, to your family. So it is something where a person exercises the power which he holds through threat or force. You just met with an accident and a person you immediately need help. A person comes and says that, okay, I'll help you, but I want this thing in return. So willingly you are not giving that thing to the person, but due to that situation, he is using that situation, he's threatening you that if you're not going to accept this, if you're not going to agree with what I am saying, I'm not going to help you. And you are in a stage where you need the immediate help. So that is the coercive power, where you use the threat or the force to convince the other person to do or act in a way you want them to move. The third power which we discussed in the last session was refrain power. So refrain power, we all say that, okay, I want to be like my father, I want to be like my mother, I want to be like my, or let's say my teacher, I want to be like my trainer. So we all observe the person, we all meet with many people, and there is one person whose personality just attracts us, right? There's a personality that attracts us. So referring power is something where this power is held by the role models. A person who is your role model, you just get influenced by what he or she is saying, because for you, you believe that whatever he or she is saying is right. So that is the referent power. That is the power of the role model. And this is, that role model will be a person who is having strong interpersonal skills, will have whom you're going to admire a lot. You might be admiring him for each and everything, whatever he or she is doing, and the back of the mind, you think of being like that person, and that is the person who is your role model, and he has that power to make you do the work whatever he wants you to do. Now when I'm saying whatever he wants to do, doesn't mean whatever personally he wants to do, but whatever the organization wants him to convey to the team to do. So this is the referent power. These are the three powers: legitimate, coercive, and referent, which we have discussed in the last session of leadership. Now in today's session, we are going to discuss 5 more powers. And the first power is charisma. The fourth power is charisma. What is charisma? What is charisma? Charisma is the nature of attractiveness or a charm that compels others to follow someone. Sometimes we are so much inspired, we just observe such person because of the charm. Now charm can be his looks, charm can be the way he speaks, the way he presents, the designation he is holding, things what you have achieved, can be anything, but that carries, it is the attractiveness of the charm that will force the person, that will attract the other person to follow him. So here it means charisma. The power of charisma is the nature of the attractiveness or the charm that compels others to follow someone. Now, charismatic power inspires positivity and joyful feeling in others. So this charismatic power is something which is only going to bring the positivity, joyfulness, energize the people, that feeling in the and the other person who is attracted by the charm of that person, of that leader. This power does not have to exist with any explicit skills or refined leadership quality. You will naturally join to the charisma of others. Now here, you don't need not to get some higher degrees. You need not to be the scholar. You need not to be the best with your interpersonal, intrapersonal skills. You have some different explicit skills. No, this charisma power is not related with any of these things. It is something which is naturally drawn in the people, drawn in the person to the charisma of others. It is something which naturally, automatically happens with a person, and the person get attracted towards the other person. So here, one more thing is very common. Like if we talk about hierarchy, a person sitting on the hierarchy using the power of legitimate, he can use that power on all the people who are below in the hierarchy, right? But when we talk about charisma, that cannot be same for each and every person. Let's say there are 5 person in a team. For two, the person may be a charismatic person. He can use his attractiveness, his charm to make us follow his footprints. But for other three, this charismatic power may not work. So it depends from person to person, because it is not something which is related to the knowledge, which is related to the looks, which is related to physique, is something which comes internally. A person start feeling that internally, that yes, I'm getting attracted towards this person, I'm getting attracted towards him or her. That is what is known as charisma power. So something which is just attracting towards him. Charisma is a natural byproduct of an outgoing personality. Now, if we talk about charisma, it is the natural byproduct. It is something which naturally and automatically happens. If you feel more comfortable connecting with people one on one rather than in large group, this may be your way of displaying your charm. So this is again the way of displaying your charm, that you do not connect with all the people together. You just prefer connecting with people one on one rather than meeting in the large group. So this is how you can use your charismatic power. The fifth one is the fifth type of power is the expert power. Expert power exists in an organization where one member possesses a set of skills others doesn't have. So what is the expert power? Now here, you're not aware about what the topic is going on. You don't have the in-depth knowledge, detailed knowledge about the thing, but you have one person who is expert in that specific field. Let's say, let's talk about marketing. So there are 5 people in the team, and out of 5 people, you are being asked to design the marketing campaign, but you know that one person is having the extraordinary creative skills, and he has also worked in the marketing field in the past organization, so he is expert in that field. So now here, what that person having the expert knowledge in the field of marketing will do, he will use his expert knowledge to come up with the marketing idea. So he is using his own different unique skill set which other persons do not have. So ultimately, the team members, the people are going to listen and respect what he or she is saying. So that is known as the expert power. Employees typically assume managers or executive possesses some skill or knowledge the other doesn't. The employee typically assume, employee most of the time employee will assume that manager, executive, they have the different skills and knowledge that we do not have, and it makes them to obey and respect what the managers or their executives are saying, because for them they think that they carry the expert knowledge, expert skills, which the people in the team do not have. Use expert power in your career, pursue expertise in your field. Now, if you want to use this expert power in your career, if you want to be the expert in your career, then you will have to pursue expertization in your specific field. And the last thing is demonstrate a high level of competence. People may bring to defer to you or follow your advice because of your experience. So now if you want to practice this expert the sixth type of power is information power. Many times a person uses the power of information. Now, what is the power of information? That's why we are saying it to be the information power. What is the power of information? During the pandemic time, when the COVID was new, there might be a person, one single person who was aware about, who got a bit of information about the COVID, that is Corona, how it generated, or maybe 1 or 2% were having that information. They can use that power of information to influence other person. They can say that, okay, these are the things which you have to do. Others are going to do that thing because for them, they are the person who carry that information. So power based on information lasts as long as the information is not known to others. Now, this is one of the most important thing with the information power is that this power, the power of information doesn't last with the person forever. It will last with the person only till the time that information is not known to any other person. Now, if the information is being shared with other person, if other person comes to know about that information, then this information part can no longer be practiced by that individual. This puts the person in possession of the information in a unique position to leverage this power however they choose. Now, a person can use this power in any way, in any form, whatever way he wants to use this power, because now he carries the information and that information has given the person that power which he can exercise over others, because he knows some information, carries some information which is not known to other person. So while having information power can be a one-time occurrence, you can become a person who is known to have the key information on the industry, product, or market. Now, when you're working into the organization, you might be thinking in which we are working in the organization, how we can use this information part. See, when you're working into the organization, maybe you have researched so much about the thing, so much about the market, industry, product, that for any specific thing, you carry the in-depth knowledge, in-depth information about that particular field. Now, when you are going to carry the in-depth knowledge about a particular field, then people are going to listen to you. People will have to follow whatever you are saying because you are in a powerful state at that point of time. You hold certain power in your hand because that power is not because of your skills, not because of the position, not because of sitting on a hierarchy level, but it is because of the information you are having with yourself, because of the expert information, because of the in-depth knowledge about the thing you carry with yourself. And that is the thing which makes you as a powerful person to exercise your power over other persons. The next type of power is the reward power. Reward power exists when a manager has the power to offer incentives to employees who perform well. Now, this is the reward power is something which exists when a manager will have the power to offer the incentives to employees who perform well. You know, I being the team leader or I being the manager have got this power that if someone is performing well in my team and someone, if any subordinate is performing well, then I can recognize him. I can reward him. So here you're using your reward power, and that reward power has been given to you by the higher authorities, or you are sitting on such a position with that position gives you that authority, that power to reward the other person. So reward power, it is something which exists when the manager has the power to offer incentives, rewards to the employees who perform better and best. As a workplace leader, reward power works best when the reward is something relevant to the employees. You might say that, okay, we are going to reward you, and in the reward, you're just giving anything random. No, it should be related to something which is relevant to the employees, which will make the employee feel that yes, they are being rewarded, they have got some kind of reward in return. So at a workplace, leader reward power works best. It will only deliver the best result. You'll get the best results from the employees when the reward, when the incentive which you're giving is relevant to the employees themselves. Having something they desire can encourage boost in productivity. The incentive must also be attainable to keep morale high. So the incentives that you are getting, that should be attainable to keep their morale high. Let's say you're setting a target that this time the person who is going to increase the sale by 120%, that 100 is the average, 20% above what he was doing, then he's going to get the incentive, he's going to get the reward. That is quite attainable. But if you say the person, if he's going to increase his sale by 180%, he is going to get the incentive, which you know practically is not at all possible. Now, I'm not saying that this thing is impossible, but it is not attainable easily, not easily. Like even if an employee gives his best, it is not going to be attainable by the employees. So these types of things should not be there. The incentive must also be attainable to keep the morale high. Excuse me, just 1 minute. For example, offering a raise to an employee with the highest sale number signifies the reward power. Now, this is also valid. They are saying that the reward will be given to the person who is going to have the highest number signifying the sale, highest significant number in the sale. So that person will get the reward. That is also fair and valid. But giving a target which is nearly impossible to be attained, that is not a fair thing to practice the reward power. The next type of power is the morale power. Now, what is the morale power? A leader with morale power inspire action based on their beliefs and behavior. Now, these are the person who inspires the action based on their beliefs and behavior. Morale leaders live by a principle that others can see and decide to follow. So these are the people, these are the leaders, they live by the principle, and those principles can easily be seen and noticed by the other person, and the other person also follow the same. So employees are inspired by these leaders because the leader built trust through their act. Now, you might be thinking that how a leader is going to build trust, or every leader builds the trust. Yes, this moral power can only be exercised with those leaders, with those managers who build the atmosphere of trust, who builds the relation of trust between them and the other person and the employees. Until and unless you do not build that relation of trust between you and the employee, you cannot practice this moral power. So to use moral power in your career, establish a personal mission statement and philosophy to live by. If you want to use this moral power, then make sure you are building your own personal moral statement that, okay, these are my ethics, these are my values, which I'm going to follow, and I'm going to work keeping these in my mind. Thus, you should establish, create your own personal mission statement and philosophy on which you will be living. And it's not just which you will be living. People should see that thing, and then only you can use your moral power. The second last power is the type of power. Second last type of power is the connection power. Leaders have connection power when their alliance with influential people is admired and desired by others. Now, leaders, they will have that connection power when their alliance with influence power is admired and desired by others. When the people admire them and they also desire that. The connection gives people the sense that the leader possesses or had access to same power that the influential person has. So we are seeing that our leader is having the connection and he's having those same, he possesses or has access to same power which the influential person was having. And building relationship, establish a framework for connection power. When you build the relationship, when you make the relationship with the persons within or outside the organization, so this is going to establish a framework for your connection power. The last type of power is the founder power. Founder power exists when a leader is the founder of an organization, idea, or a movement. What does this mean? What does this mean? The founder power. A person started the business. You know, he is the person who bought that idea, who gathered the fund, who established the business, the enterprise, and now people are working. So now, no matter whether he's actively working or not, he will always carry that founder power because he is the person who has generated the job opportunity for you. He is a person who has bought something in the market which is giving something to the society. So he is the whole person. He is the founder. Basically, is the person who bought that thing in the market. So he is a person who is always carried that power of being the founder of TCS, the founder of Reliance, the founder of so these are the person, whatever they decide, people will have to listen to them, people will have to follow them, because it's not about the hierarchy on which they are sitting, it's not about their knowledge, different skill set they carry, expert knowledge they have some information, but it is because they are the person who formed that business, who formed that organization, and that makes that person different, and that makes that person to exercise the power. So founder power exists when a leader is the founder of an organization, idol, or movement, and people differ to this person's power because this is a perception of having a deeper knowledge than the other through experience. So what we believe that this person who is the founder will always carry more in-depth knowledge, detailed knowledge, he'll have lot of experience than any other person working in the organization. This is the belief, this is the perception which we carry about the founder. And becoming an entrepreneur of a successful business gives you their founder power. So as soon as you become successful, as soon as you start, uh, your work starts getting recognized, your work is being praised, your organization starts growing, your entrepreneur starts growing, you're moving towards success, that will automatically give you the power of founder, being the founder member. And now you can exercise this power to make other person do or act in a way in which you want them to move and act. So with this, we have come to the end of the topic, that is the types of power. Any doubts still here? Now let's just quickly take a quick review about what are the different powers which we have studied. So the first power which we have discussed was the hierarchy power. Now, when I talk about hierarchy power is nothing but, sorry, it's not the hierarchy, it's the legitimate power, which says that depending upon the hierarchy, depending upon the position which you are holding in the organization, you get the power to influence other person. Second is the coercive power, where you use the threat, you force other person to do or act in a way in which you want them to move. So the coercive power, it is the power which someone holds through threat or through force. The third type of power was the referent power. Now, referent power was something related to the role model. Like if you have a role model, so definitely you look towards that person and you follow the footprints left behind, the footprints of that person, because you take that person to be an ideal person for you, who is good with the leadership skill, who good with the interpersonal skills, who have lot of different skills which you see and which attracts you. So that is the referent power. Then we have studied the charisma power. Now, charisma power is not related to any kind of skills, hierarchy, position, information, skill set. No, it is related to the attractiveness, the charm which a person carries. Why do we always say that whenever you're going to for the interview, make sure you are dressed up properly, you are dressed up attractively? Why? Because many times maybe your knowledge may be a bit less than other person, but the charm you are carrying, the attractiveness you are carrying, the way you are presenting yourself, the way you are moving in, the way you are answering, makes you stand out of the crowd, and that is what was is the charisma of you. It is not related to any skill set, knowledge, hierarchy level, threat. No, it's related to the attractiveness and the charm which a person carries. Then was the expert knowledge, if you are expert in any specific field. Next was the information, having any specific kind of information which is not known to other person. But this information power can only be practiced till the time that information is not being shared by any other person. If other person gets to know that information, then you cannot practice that information power. Then is the reward, morale, connection, and the last one is the founder power. So in case of any doubt, if you find any doubt related to any of the powers which you have discussed, you can get back to me in the next session of leadership. Now, in the next session, that is next week, the session of leadership, we will be talking about the types of influences. What are the different types of influences? Till now, we were talking about the different types of powers. But now we will talk about the different types of influences and how to use that influence. Because we all know, being a leader, it is very important to influence other person. You as a leader is going to make other person do the work by your mind. That is influencing other person, that we are going to discuss in the next session of leadership. Till then, bye bye, have a wonderful day, see you.